Dr. Sarah Chen watched the alien news broadcast with a hint of amusement, her dark eyes reflecting the holographic display floating above her desk. The collective's most popular entertainment channel was running yet another documentary about primitive species, with Earth featuring prominently in their lineup. Observe the charming simplicity of the Terran transportation network. The translator rendered the alien narrator's voice with perfect clarity. Their reliance on ground vehicles and basic atmospheric aircraft demonstrates their early stage of development. Experts predict at least 3 centuries before they achieve meaningful space travel. Sarah allowed herself a small smile as she gestured, dismissing the hologram. Through her office window, she could see the sprawling underground complex of Quantum Command, buried deep beneath the Rockies. The massive quantum computers that powered humanity's greatest secret hummed quietly in the background, their crystalline matrices processing data at speeds that would make even the collective's most advanced systems seem primitive by comparison. Director Chen, her AI assistant's voice was crisp and professional. The latest test results from Project Shadowveil are ready for your review. Display them, Ada, Sarah commanded, straightening in her chair. The air before her filled with complex equations and test metrics, all showing green. Project Shadowveil, humanity's quantum stealth system, was now operating at 99.99% efficiency. Even the collective's most sophisticated sensors would see nothing but a primitive civilization struggling with basic fusion power. The irony wasn't lost on Sarah. Humanity had discovered quantum technology nearly 50 years ago, but rather than announcing it to the galaxy, Earth's leaders had made an unprecedented decision. They would hide their advancement, allowing the galaxy's elite civilizations to continue dismissing them as primitives while they prepared for the inevitable conflict to come. The door chimed, admitting Admiral James Rodriguez, his weathered face serious. The collective's council just concluded their latest session, he reported without preamble. They'd voted to begin the cultural uplift of Earth within the next solar month. Sarah nodded, unsurprised. Right on schedule. Their anthropological surveys all suggest we're reaching a critical development phase. They think they're being benevolent by intervening now. Benevolent subjugation is still subjugation, Rodriguez growled. The collective's uplifted species all end up as client states, providing resources and labor, while their benefactors retain control of all advanced technology. Which is precisely why we've spent 50 years preparing for this moment. Sarah reminded him, pulling up another holographic display. This one showed Earth's hidden fleet, 500 ships equipped with quantum drives, advanced AI systems, and weapons that could pierce any known defense. Each vessel was a masterpiece of human ingenuity, built in secret orbital facilities that appeared as nothing more than debris to outside observers. Status report on fleet readiness? Sarah asked, though she already knew the answer. She'd reviewed the numbers a dozen times today alone. All ships are at combat readiness, Rodriguez confirmed. Crews have completed their final training simulations. Operation Revelation can commence as soon as the collective makes their move. Sarah stood, walking to the window that overlooked the quantum computer complex. The massive machines that had made all this possible were humanity's greatest achievement, and their greatest secret. While the collective's technology relied on conventional computing and physics, humanity had taken a different path, discovering how to manipulate the very fabric of reality through quantum mechanics. Send word to all department heads, she ordered. Final preparation protocols are now in effect. When the collective comes to uplift us, they're going to learn that humanity has been uplifting itself all along. The next few days were a flurry of activity, all of it hidden beneath Earth's carefully maintained facade of primitive development. The quantum fleet moved into position, their stealth systems making them invisible even to each other without the encrypted quantum communication network. Military units worldwide conducted their primitive exercises while practicing with advanced weapons in secret. Every human on Earth played their part in the greatest deception in history. Sarah reviewed the final intelligence reports from their deep cover agents within the collective. The alien civilization's arrogance had made infiltration almost embarrassingly easy. Nobody bothered to look too closely at the servants and manual laborers that kept their society running. The reports confirmed what they'd long suspected. The collective's technological advancement had plateaued centuries ago, their society grown complacent in their perceived superiority. The collective's advanced fleet has entered the solar system, Ada announced one morning. 17 capital ships and their support vessels. They're broadcasting a message on all frequencies. Let's hear it, Sarah ordered, sharing a knowing look with Admiral Rodriguez, who had arrived moments earlier. The message was exactly what they'd expected: grandiose, condescending, and utterly oblivious. The collective announced their intention to guide humanity into a new age of enlightenment, promising to elevate Earth to its rightful place among the stars. They're launching their smaller vessels, Ada reported. Atmospheric insertion will begin in approximately 20 minutes. Their sensors are actively scanning for military installations and advanced technology, and finding exactly what we want them to find, Rodriguez added with grim satisfaction. Nothing but primitive defenses and outdated technology. Sarah took a deep breath, feeling the weight of history on her shoulders. Humanity had spent 50 years preparing for this moment, waiting patiently while the collective dismissed them as primitives. Now they would show the galaxy that appearance and reality were often very different things. Send the activation code to all fleet elements, she ordered. Operation Revelation begins now. Let's show the collective exactly what these primitives can do. As the alien ships began their descent toward Earth's atmosphere, humanity prepared to reveal its true face to the galaxy. The age of deception was about to end, and a new chapter in human history was about to begin, one that would shake the foundations of galactic civilization itself. High Commander Zextal stood on the bridge of the collective's flagship Eternal Wisdom, his iridescent scales gleaming under the soft ambient lighting. The holographic display before him showed Earth in all its primitive glory, a world still struggling with the basics of space travel. His secondary hearts swelled with what he considered to be benevolent pride. "Begin the Enlightenment Protocol," he commanded, his translator converting his sibilant speech into the standard galactic format. "Remember, we must handle these primitives with patience. They cannot help their limited understanding." The bridge crew, composed of members from the collective's most advanced species, worked with practiced efficiency. They had performed similar operations countless times before, uplifting primitive species into their proper place within the galactic hierarchy. Earth would be no different. "Curious readings from the planet's surface," High Commander reported Senior Analyst Vixna, her tentacles dancing across her console. "Their power signatures seem inconsistent." "Elaborate," Zextal ordered, though he was hardly concerned. Primitive civilizations often had unstable power systems. The energy outputs we're detecting don't quite match their visible infrastructure. It's probably nothing, just their inefficient technology. She dismissed her own concerns with a wave of a tentacle. The first wave of ships entered Earth's atmosphere, their sensors probing deeply into the planet's structure. They detected exactly what they expected: primitive fission power plants, basic particle accelerators, and rudimentary space launch facilities. Everything confirmed their long-held beliefs about humanity's technological level. "We're receiving a response to our announcement," Communications Officer Kirill announced, his crystalline form shimmering. "Audio only." "How quaint." "Put it through," Zextal ordered, already composing his patronizing response in his mind. "This is Earth's Central Command," a calm human voice stated. "We acknowledge your presence and your generous offer. Please maintain your current position while we formulate an official response." Zextal allowed himself a small gesture of amusement, a ripple of his head scales that his subordinates recognized as laughter. They still think they have a choice in the matter. Maintain course. Begin deployment of the cultural integration pods. The massive ships of the collective's fleet began positioning themselves strategically around the planet. Their sensors showed Earth's primitive military forces scrambling in confusion, their aircraft and ground vehicles moving in patterns that seemed random and uncoordinated. "High Commander," Tactical Officer Mrix interrupted. "We're detecting some unusual void signatures in the space around us. They appear and disappear too quickly for our sensors to lock on." "Sensor ghosts," Zextal dismissed. "This system's star produces unusual radiation patterns. It's in all the preliminary reports." He hadn't actually read those reports, but it seemed like a reasonable explanation. The next few minutes passed in what the collective's crew assumed was routine preparation. Integration pods, containing the first wave of cultural advisors and their equipment, were readied for launch. The fleet's position was optimized for maximum coverage of Earth's major population centers. Nobody on the bridge paid much attention to the slight shimmer in space around their ships. Nobody noticed that the sensor ghosts were becoming more frequent, moving in patterns that might have seemed suspicious to a less arrogant observer. "Sir," Vixna's voice carried a note of confusion, "I'm detecting some sort of quantum fluctuation. But that's impossible. The humans haven't even mastered basic fusion yet." Before Zextal could respond, space itself seemed to tear open around his fleet. Where there had been empty void moments before, hundreds of ships suddenly appeared. Ships that by all rights shouldn't exist. Ships that bore the markings of Earth. Impossible. Zextal's scales flattened against his body in shock. Where did they come from? How did they hide from our sensors? The answer came in the form of a transmission, this time with full holographic accompaniment. The human woman who appeared before them wore uniformed, was both elegant and functional, bearing insignia that the collective's databases couldn't identify. "This is Director Sarah Chen of Earth's Quantum Defense Initiative," she announced, her voice carrying the same calm authority it had before. "Your current position has been surrounded by the Earth fleet. Your sensors are now being allowed to detect our true capabilities. Please reconsider your position regarding Earth's status in the galaxy." The bridge erupted into chaos as sensor readings poured in. The human ships were utilizing technology that shouldn't exist. Quantum drives more advanced than anything in the collective's arsenal, weapon systems that defied their understanding of physics, defensive capabilities that made their own seem primitive by comparison. "All ships, battle stations," Zextal ordered, his training taking over despite his shock. "Launch fighters and prepared defensive systems." But even as he gave the order, he watched in horror as the human ships began to move. Their movements were impossible. They seemed to exist in multiple places at once, their quantum drives allowing them to manipulate space-time in ways the collective had never imagined. "High Commander," Tactical Officer Mrix's voice was barely a whisper. "Their weapons, they're powered by some form of quantum technology we've never seen before. Our shields, they're useless against them." Zextal stood frozen on his bridge, watching as 50 years of assumptions about humanity crumbled in an instant. The primitives they had come to enlighten had been anything but primitive. While the collective had been laughing at Earth's apparent backwardness, humanity had been preparing for this very moment. "Director Chen," he finally managed to speak, his translator struggling to maintain his dignity. "Perhaps we should discuss this situation further." The human woman's hologram smiled, a subtle expression that somehow managed to convey both victory and measured restraint. "Yes, High Commander, I believe we should. The terms of our discussion, however, will be somewhat different than what you initially planned." As Zextal looked out at the quantum ships surrounding his fleet, he realized that the galaxy was about to change forever. The primitives had been watching, waiting, and preparing. Now they were ready to take their true place among the stars, not as subjects to be uplifted, but as equals who had surpassed their would-be teachers. The next 12 hours aboard the Quantum Command Center were unlike anything in human history. Dr. Sarah Chen sat at the head of a hastily arranged conference room, facing not just holographic projections, but actual alien representatives from the collective's leadership. The irony of the situation wasn't lost on anyone present. The primitives were now hosting their would-be benefactors. "Let me understand this correctly," High Commander Zextal said, His scales shifting in what humans had learned was a sign of distress. Your quantum technology advancement began 50 years ago, and you deliberately chose to hide it. We did, Sarah confirmed, taking a slow sip from her coffee cup. Your own cultural archives made it clear what happened to civilizations that displayed sudden technological leaps. They were either forcibly uplifted or contained as potential threats. Admiral Rodriguez, sitting to her right, pulled up a holographic display showing the past 5 decades of human advancement. While you saw primitive fusion experiments, we were mastering quantum physics. While you monitored our basic space program, we were building a fleet that could match anything in the galaxy. The alien representatives exchanged uncomfortable glances. Vixna, the senior analyst who had first noticed the anomalous readings, spoke up. But the resource expenditure must have been astronomical. How did you hide it all? Sarah gestured, and the room's quantum displays came to life, showing a complex web of technological achievements and their careful concealment. Quantum computing allowed us to create perfect camouflage. Every power signature, every resource extraction, every manufacturing facility, all hidden beneath a carefully constructed veneer of primitive technology. The servants, another alien representative, suddenly realized, their crystalline form flickering with agitation. Those humans working throughout collective space, they were gathering intelligence. We prefer the term cultural observers, Rodriguez replied with a slight smile. Though yes, every human working in collective space was part of our intelligence network. Your society's dismissal of us as primitives made infiltration remarkably easy. The revelation sent another wave of discomfort through the alien delegation. Decades of treating humans as simple laborers had given Earth unprecedented access to collective technology and culture. Their own prejudices had been turned against them with surgical precision. What happens now? Zextal asked, his translator struggling to convey the complex emotions in his voice. Your fleet could have destroyed ours, yet you chose to reveal yourselves instead. Why? Sarah stood, walking to the window that overlooked the quantum computer complex. Because destruction was never our goal. Earth doesn't want to replace the collective's dominance with our own. We want something far more revolutionary, genuine equality among species. The holographic displays shifted again, showing data that made the alien representatives' various expression organs widen in shock. Evidence of other primitive species making technological advances in secret, inspired by Earth's example. Civilizations that had watched and waited, following humanity's path of hidden development. You're not just revealing your own advancement, Vixna realized, her tentacles writhing in agitation. You're announcing to the galaxy that the entire hierarchy of civilizations is built on false assumptions. The age of arbitrary technological segregation is over, Sarah confirmed. Earth is prepared to share its quantum technology with any civilization that commits to genuine cooperation and equality. The choice before the collective is simple: adapt to a galaxy of equals or become obsolete. The impact of her words hung in the air like a physical force. Centuries of collective doctrine about technological advancement and species hierarchy were crumbling before their eyes. The primitive humans hadn't just caught up, they had fundamentally changed the rules of galactic civilization. There will be resistance, Zextal warned, though his tone suggested he was already accepting the inevitable. Many in the collective's upper echelons have built their entire existence around our supposed superiority. We know, Rodriguez acknowledged. That's why we waited until our position was unassailable. Earth's quantum fleet isn't just a military force. It's a guarantee that the transition to a more equitable galaxy will happen, one way or another. Sarah returned to her seat, her expression both firm and compassionate. Your fleet commanders have already seen what our technology can do. They know that the old power structure cannot be maintained by force. The question is whether the collective will be partners in building a better galaxy or obstacles to be worked around. The alien representatives huddled together, engaging in rapid discussions in their native languages. The humans waited patiently, knowing that this moment would echo through history. The careful plans of 50 years were coming to fruition, not in war, but in the possibility of genuine change. Finally, Zextol turned back to Sarah. The collective's council will need to be convened. There will be debates, probably protests. But his scales shifted in what humans now recognized as resignation mixed with hope. I believe you have given us no choice but to evolve. The galaxy you envision, perhaps it is time for such a change. Then let's begin, Sarah said, activating a new holographic display showing proposed frameworks for galactic cooperation. Earth has had 50 years to plan not just for this moment, but for everything that comes after. We have much to discuss. As the discussions continued deep into the night, news of humanity's revelations spread across the galaxy. On countless worlds, species long dismissed as primitive began to step out of the shadows, ready to take their place in a new galactic order. The deception was over, but its legacy would reshape civilization itself. The news spread across the galaxy like a quantum wave, impossible to contain or control. On thousands of worlds, species long considered primitive began revealing their own hidden advances. The carefully maintained hierarchy of galactic civilization was collapsing, and at the center of it all was Earth. In the Quantum Command Strategic Center, Dr. Sarah Chen watched the cascade of revelations with a mixture of satisfaction and concern. Holographic displays showed dozens of civilizations emerging from their technological shadows, each inspired by humanity's example. The Proxima Alliance has just revealed their antimatter power plants, Admiral Rodriguez reported, updating the strategic display. The Centauri Federation is showcasing artificial gravity technology that rivals our own. And the Sirius Confederation. He paused, chuckling. They've apparently mastered biosynthetic computing. All while the collective thought they were struggling with basic fusion and chemical rockets, Sarah noted. We weren't the only ones playing the long game. The displays showed the reactions across collective space, panic in some sectors, revolution in others. Species that had served as laborers and servants for centuries were suddenly demonstrating technological capabilities that matched or exceeded their supposed superiors. Message from the Arcturus system, Ada announced. The crystalline minds are requesting immediate diplomatic contact. They say they've been hiding quantum consciousness technology for over 300 years. Sarah wasn't surprised. Earth's intelligence network had hinted at numerous civilizations maintaining facades of primitive development. What was surprising was the speed at which they were now revealing themselves. Director Chen, a new voice called. Ambassador Lyra of the Proxima Alliance appeared as a hologram, her bioluminescent form pulsing with excitement. Our people wish to extend their gratitude. Earth's actions have given us the courage to finally step out of the shadows. We all chose the same path, Sarah acknowledged. Waiting, watching, preparing for the right moment. Earth just happened to be the first to move. The strategic displays updated again, showing the rapid reorganization of galactic power. The collective's once absolute authority was dissolving, replaced by a complex web of newly revealed technological civilizations. Each had their own advances, their own breakthroughs, all hidden beneath carefully maintained masks of primitiveness. The collective's High Council is in emergency session, Rodriguez reported. Our observers report that several counselors have already resigned. The evidence of their civilization's technological stagnation is uncomfortable for them. Sarah nodded, remembering conversations with Zextol and other collective representatives. The revelation that they had stopped pushing the boundaries of science centuries ago, content in their perceived superiority, had shaken them deeply. Message from the Sirius Confederation, Ada interrupted. They're proposing an immediate conference of all emerging powers. Location to be Earth's Quantum Command, if we're willing to host. Accept, Sarah ordered without hesitation. It's time for all of us to stop hiding our true capabilities. The galaxy needs a new framework for cooperation. The next few days saw a parade of representatives from formerly primitive civilizations arriving at Earth. Each brought their own technological marvels, their own stories of patient waiting and careful preparation. The Quantum Command Center became a showcase of innovations that the collective had never imagined possible. "It's remarkable," Ambassador Lyra observed during one session. "Each of us chose to pursue different paths of advancement. Earth mastered quantum physics. We focused on antimatter. The Sirius Confederation explored biological computing. Yet we all understood the need to hide our progress. The collective's arrogance was their greatest weakness," Rodriguez replied. "They were so convinced of their superiority that they never questioned why so many primitive species seemed content with their status." The displays showed more revelations happening across the galaxy. The collective's client states were declaring independence, backed by technologies they had developed in secret. Ancient power structures were crumbling, replaced by new alliances based on mutual respect and shared innovation. Director Chen, Ada announced, "We're receiving a priority transmission from the collective's High Council. They're requesting assistance." Sarah raised an eyebrow. "Assistance with what?" "Their technological infrastructure is failing," Ada explained. "Without the support of their former client states, many of their systems are becoming unstable. They're admitting they've forgotten how to innovate, how to solve problems without relying on established patterns." The irony was almost painful. The civilization that had looked down on primitives for so long now needed help from those same species to maintain their own society. "Send word to all emerging powers," Sarah decided. "We'll establish a technological exchange program. The collective needs to remember how to advance, how to think beyond their assumptions, and we all have much to learn from each other." As she looked out over the assembled representatives of formerly hidden civilizations, Sarah felt a profound sense of change. The galaxy was transforming, not through war or conquest, but through the revealed truth that progress could not be monopolized. "We've spent centuries watching the stars," she addressed the gathered delegates. "Now it's time to reach for them together. Not as primitive and advanced, not as superior and inferior, but as equals with different gifts to share." The quantum displays showed the continuing cascade of revelations across the galaxy. Each hour brought news of another civilization stepping out of the shadows, another piece of hidden technology being revealed. The age of deception was ending, replaced by an era of unprecedented cooperation and discovery. The stars themselves seemed brighter somehow, as if reflecting the unleashed potential of countless civilizations, finally free to show their true capabilities. The galaxy would never be the same, and that was exactly what Earth had been waiting for. 1 year after Earth's revelation, the newly established Galactic Concordat held its first official assembly in a location that would have been unthinkable months before: Earth's Quantum Command Center, now transformed into the headquarters of an unprecedented alliance of civilizations. Dr. Sarah Chen stood at the podium, looking out over an assembly that represented the greatest gathering of species in known history. Former collective powers sat alongside their aunt's primitive neighbors, while holographic representatives from dozens of worlds shimmered in their designated spaces. 1 year ago, we changed the galaxy, she began, her voice carrying to all delegates through quantum-enhanced universal translators. Not through force of arms, though we had them. Not through economic pressure, though we could have applied it. We changed it by showing that advancement comes in many forms, and that no civilization has a monopoly on progress. The Great Chamber's quantum displays showed the transformations of the past year. The collective's rigid hierarchy had been replaced by a complex network of cooperative agreements. Technologies that had been hidden for centuries were now being shared, combined, and improved upon through collaboration. The Sirius Confederation's biosynthetic computers have revolutionized medical science across known space, she continued. The Proxima Alliance's antimatter innovations have opened new frontiers in energy production. The Crystalline Mind's quantum consciousness technology has changed our very understanding of sentience itself. High Commander Zextal, now serving as the representative of the reformed collective states, shifted his scales in agreement. His own civilization had undergone perhaps the most dramatic transformation, learning humility and the value of genuine exchange. But our greatest achievement, Sarah emphasized, has been the end of secrecy itself. No longer must any civilization hide its advances for fear of subjugation. No longer must progress be constrained by artificial hierarchies of worth. The displays showed new joint projects springing up across the galaxy. Earth's quantum technology was being combined with Proximan antimatter science, Sirian biocomputing, and dozens of other previously hidden innovations. Each combination sparked new discoveries, new possibilities that no single civilization could have achieved alone. We face challenges, of course, Sarah acknowledged. The transition hasn't been entirely smooth. Some former collective hardliners still resist change. Some newly emerged powers struggle with their sudden visibility. But we face these challenges together, as equals. Ambassador Lyra's bioluminescence pulsed in harmony with her words. Earth showed us that patience and preparation could overcome even the most entrenched prejudices. You taught us that revolution need not mean destruction. The true test, Zextal added, his translator conveying genuine humility, was not in the revelation itself, but in how it was used. Earth could have employed its quantum fleet for dominance. Instead, you chose to build bridges. The quantum displays shifted again, showing the next phase of galactic development. Plans for joint exploration missions, shared research initiatives, and collaborative defense projects. The combined knowledge of all civilizations was creating possibilities that would have seemed like fantasy just a year ago. We stand at a crossroads, Sarah continued. The old order has fallen, but what replaces it is up to us. Will we create something truly new, or simply establish new hierarchies to replace the old? The assembly chamber fell silent, each representative contemplating the weight of the moment. They had all lived through the greatest transformation in galactic history, but the work of building a new society was far from complete. Earth hid its advances for 50 years, Sarah reminded them. Others hid for centuries. We all chose deception because we saw no other way to protect our independence. Now we have the chance to build a galaxy where such deception is unnecessary. The quantum displays showed the latest discovery. A joint Earth-Proximan-Sirian project had found evidence of quantum patterns in the fabric of space itself, suggesting possibilities that no single civilization's science could have uncovered. This is what becomes possible when we work together. Sarah gestured to the display. Not as superior and inferior, not as advanced and primitive, but as equals bringing our unique perspectives to shared challenges. The assembly erupted in agreement, their various forms of expression creating a symphony of unity. Representatives who a year ago would never have acknowledged each other as equals were now engaged in eager discussion of joint projects and shared discoveries. We will make mistakes, Sarah concluded. We will face setbacks, but we will face them together, in the open, without masks or pretense. The age of hidden progress is over. The age of shared discovery has begun. As the assembly moved into its working sessions, Sarah took a moment to look out at the stars through the command center's quantum-enhanced windows. Somewhere out there, she knew, other civilizations might be watching, hiding their own advances, waiting for their moment. But now they would see something different. A galaxy where progress didn't have to be hidden, where advancement didn't mean domination, where cooperation had replaced hierarchy. Earth's great deception had ended not in conflict, but in the birth of something entirely new. The stars seemed to shine brighter, as if reflecting the unleashed potential of countless civilizations, finally free to reach their full potential. The galaxy would never be the same, and that was exactly what they had all been waiting for.